Hi, this is Melinda Orr from Bandana Girl. As promised, here's a tutorial for creating a stone setting with crystal clay. Recently, I shared this new design on Facebook with a bunch of friends, and they were interested in learning, so here's the tutorial. To start with, we're going to take a 1.5 round copper 24 gauge blank, and we're going to use a wooden dapping block, and we're going to use the 38 millimeter hole. Actually, it's a 28 millimeter hole. We're going to put the blank on there. Try to center it the best we can. And I'm using it's called it's a clear duct tape by Scott. It's not quite as sticky as regular duct tape, so it's easier to put on and remove. And you can see what you're doing, and that's nice. You can see through and see what's happening underneath. You can use, we're going to dap this, and you can use your utility hammer that has a round end, or you can use your dap block, whatever you have available. You can use something like this or something like this. I'll be using my hammer today. What we're looking to do is that inside drop hole, we're going to try to work around the edge of that inside hole to make a depression that will sort of end up looking like this. So, slowly I tap around. And you can see it's starting to work in. If your edges pull up, just tap them slightly with the flat side of your hammer. And then I'll continue to work around. Our goal here is to, of course, drop the center a little bit, and we're not trying to get down to the bottom of the wood. We're just trying to make a slight depression that we can lay that crystal clay into to set it sort of down in a little bit. I like the way the depression looks when you're wearing it. On this finished necklace, you can see on the back it's kind of fun. It's a little more artistic looking as opposed to just like a flat piece with some clay stuck on top. The other thing we're trying to do is drop that center and define that edge a little bit. So when we end up putting the pieces on, we have sort of a defined edge that goes around. Now, all the while I'm going around the outside and retapping the outside edge. And that's looking pretty good, but just to double check, we can pull one corner, two corners actually, of the tape up and take a peek. And yeah, that looks real good. So we're going to pull that off. You're going to save the tape. We may need to use it in a little bit. Just stick that onto your block. Okay, so here we are. We have our bezel base. Now we want to add some dimension. On this one, you can see there's lots of dimension. There's lines added. There are hammer marks. You can really use any texture you like. I'll show you a couple today, and then you can go from there. Okay, I'll be using my riveting hammer to put lines in the edge. And you're going to take the depressed side will go down because this is going to be the top of our piece. And we're going to just take the pointed edge of our riveting hammer. And I'm going to move this piece as I hammer, as opposed to moving my hammer. So I'm going to start here. And I think I'll do just the same thing on the other side. Now don't be worried if it kind of misshapens your piece, because we'll go back and straighten that out in the end afterwards. You could also upside down and tap it out a little bit. So you just want to make sure your sides are, your design is as you like it. These I'm actually going to make even on both sides. And then I think I want some little hammer marks in there. So I'll use my chasing hammer, and I'll be using the rounded edge to put little divots in the metal. Same way as we did before. Now the one thing you want to do is make sure you grab the edges with the hammer, and it gives it sort of a little more rustic, kind of tattered look, which I like. That's my style. That's what I try to achieve. I just flipped it over to the other side. And I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, it is a little misshapen. So we're going to go back to the wooden block. We're going to put this back in the spot where we had it before. Now if this is too out of shape, you can actually go back to here and just tap it down so it's a little more even. Then we're going to come back to the dapping block, and we'll use that old tape we had, and we're just going to tape it back in the hole. And then we'll go back with our round hammer, or our utility hammer. Now if you wanted a little bit more pronounced hammering look, so it shows on the back side, you could actually use your chasing hammer outside. It'll show more pock marks on the back. You may like that, you may not. If you don't want any pock marks at all, then use the wood. The wood will keep it more uniform and not so hammered looking. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'm just going to tap down my sides again. And so now we have a bezel. And I mean, this actually is cool just like it is. You could actually add your holes and make this into a beautiful pendant, But today's project is crystal clay, so we'll be adding that. In the meantime, most of all my pieces, I typically don't use shiny copper. I like an antique look, kind of a rustic finish. And this one I actually put a patina on, which is kind of cool, and I'll explain that later. So for now, I'll be using this is called Jack's patina. It's a black-brown patina. It gives it sort of a rustic, reddish-brown look, which I really like, and you can see that a lot on my pieces. You can see that there. And then once it's patinaed, then you're going to rinse. And then dry with just a paper towel. Dry it really good. Now, it's nice and it's dark. You can leave that dark finish just like that. I like to pull the highlights out, and I use a quad 040 steel wool. It's kind of a finer grade, and that leaves a lot of the darkness and the depression, but it also pulls some of that orangey copper out, which is so pretty. And I'm going to do the back quick too. From here, you can leave it like that. I like the scratch marks. That's kind of my look. I like that. But you could also use the shine pads and really bring that out to a pretty shine. It still leaves the darkness in the holes and the divots, but you can see it really shines it up as opposed to like a more rustic look. Now, if you don't seal it, it's like silver, sterling silver. It will tarnish, and it tarnishes pretty quickly, but it's easy enough to shine back up with the Shine Bright pads. These are actually used and old. I should get a new one out. But if you seal it, then you have it, it'll stay nice just the way you finished it for a long, long time to come. So this is, because it's a little bit shiny, I'll be using a Clear Guard satin. This is from Sculpt Nouveau. If it were more matte, like a patina finish, I would use the matte version. I don't know if you can see that. There. Anyways, hold it 12 inches from your piece. Light spray. 3 times you want to cover it. When the front's done and dried, and you probably want to wait, I wait about 10 minutes in between sprays to let it dry nicely, and then flip it over and then give it a couple more coats. That way if it rubs against your skin, you don't have the direct copper. Some people react to that, but I don't have any trouble with it. Okay, so we have this piece ready to be filled. We'll be stepping over to do that in another video. So look for part 2.